I want to do like a woo. I want to woo now. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Just get a quiet take. Woo. There we go.
We
You
got
can
the
use that in the
energy.
promos.
That's
You can
that's
use that in
that's
the
what's
promos.
important.
Like,
What's going on? Is it some of it's the anniversary, some of it's these games, a little bit of it's the movie, but
Well, some
there was a rolling rise of popularity of D&D. Like,
well, you
and
also
now it's everywhere.
now you also can't discount Stranger Things.
That's true. Yeah, that's
The
true.
Google searches for Dungeons and Dragons as each new season of Stranger Things gets released. I think it was up by 600% when
Wow.
season 4 came out on Netflix. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of the general mainstreaming of geek culture that we've all lived through, and
yeah.
certainly
And there's also, I mean, there's also however many years of kind of um, real time gameplay videos. People like that stuff
Mhm.
has been around for about 10 years and has grown slow. So like by the time that like people are Googling Stranger Things D&D, they will get a million other hits for all these other like streaming
Yeah,
live
oh,
play
what's Critical
role
Role?
playing
Like,
games. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Like there'll be a bunch of the stuff, and there will then be, you know, 7 years worth of content
Mm.
of that to watch, then podcasts and whatever. So it's really easy to immerse yourself into that culture. And when you've got, especially with shows like, you know, the podcast, the real time role playing podcasts, things like that, typically they're being done by actors and comedians and whatever. So they're able to sell how much fun it is. And again,
Yeah.
there's like 7, 10, 11 years worth of ready-made stuff that you can go back into and watch people having fun for 10 years.
Hmm.
It really helps kind of keep that boulder rolling, you know?
I mean, I'm writing comics right now for a YouTube show called Epic NPC Man that's out of New Zealand. This this troupe called Viva La Dirt League, and they have 5 million YouTube subscribers. And they also have a live play D&D thing they do with the Epic NPC Man characters, which is more of a parody of like Skyrim and World of Warcraft and like the video game stuff. But it's such a huge subculture that making fun of it is its own huge subculture. You know,
That's what I remember is making fun of it, right? And until like that was like the harsh reality for me. Like, I started getting back into I was always into comics, but like, not like podcast or video interviewing comic book creator into it, right? Like, but so I was like getting back into nerdy stuff and then like for a long time it was like D&D. Like I knew about it, but I remember being younger and like I remember my grandma talking about like we were raised Catholic and so like my mom's mom was real religious and they were talking about like hearing these stories of kids playing like Dungeons and like borderline like they played Dungeons and Dragons, we never heard from them again, and I mean like
Yeah.
shit, like but that like people were talking, parents at my school were talking. Same thing with like Harry. It was more intense than Harry Potter, but like akin to that, like the kids are reading about magic, oh, like what are we gonna do? I was at Target the other day and Walmart, and there's Dungeons and Dragons tarot cards, Dungeons and Dragons cookbooks, the Dungeons and Dragons novels are all out, right? Man, and I'm talking like front facing, right there in the when you walk into the media, they're right there, right? They're right next to a fucking Taylor Swift LP, right?
sure.
Like, and that's cool, but it's just like it's like wow, and now it is like I had the kind of come to Jesus moment, or not a come to Jesus moment, but it was like, am I cool enough to play Dungeons and Dragons? It's like,
Well,
none of my friends want to play with me. Like,
we can answer that. Like, yes, you are cool enough to play D&D. I think D&D now is because they're probably the most recognizable, again, because of Stranger Things and all these other things. They're probably the most recognizable game on the market.
mm,
I think they're having their MCU moment, like from like 12 years ago when those movies started coming out, and people were like, "Is Superman in the MCU?" I guess, it was that kind of thing. it's synonymous with gaming, right? Like
Okay.
a superhero movie is by definition a Marvel movie. You know,
Yeah.
a comic book movie is by definition a superhero movie is by definition a Marvel movie, and
Hmm.
I think it's the same thing that's happening. Um, I think it's the same kind of thing. It's like we know this kind of recognizable brand. A lot of people just out in the world, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just out in the world, they know because they've heard about this brand one way or another. Typically through the 80s and 90s, it was the butt of a joke, or the 2000s, it was like the butt of a joke on some
Hmm.
sitcom they were watching. But they still heard about it, and now it's like I said, it's having that moment. So when you're
Yeah.
when
Joke's
you
on
talk
you,
about role,
prick. Nerds are
yeah, when you
taking
start
over.
exactly when you say role playing game, immediately D&D. You know, it's the thing that people are going to associate with it immediately off the bat. And that's got benefits and drawbacks and whatever, but I think that's what's happening. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the PlayStation Nintendo phenomenon, right? Like you were no
yeah,
matter like what you were playing, you were like, oh, we're playing PlayStation at my buddy's house, right? And it's like, dude, you're on a Nintendo. Like, no, we're playing PlayStation. It's a, or
yeah,
everybody's you hand somebody or someone asks for a Coke, you hand them a Sprite. Like they know what you mean.
yeah.
It's like it's so yeah, I
I'd
can
like a
see how
Coke.
it's
What flavor?
dangerous.
Orange. Uh,
Well, now there are orange Cokes, I think now, Tom.
yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I
Wow,
mean, back
you
in the
brought up some
day.
shaky ground there, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Tired of all these
I'm
flavors in my
sorry, Blake.
cola.
I ruined the podcast, Blake.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.